Hello, beautiful people. My name is Salim Yasser Awaza, your trusted financial advisor. And today we are going to talk about the Eurobond, which has been floated by the Kenyan government worth 1.5 billion US dollars. We are going to look at what this means to the ordinary Kenyan citizens, to the business people, the investors, and most importantly, to the Kenyan economy. Please stay tuned. Here is a press release statement by the Republic of Kenya on the floating of the 1.5 billion US dollars Eurobond. The government is pleased to announce the successful pricing of a new 9.75% 1.5 billion US dollars Eurobond due in 2031. This will amortize in 3 equal installments in 2029, 2030, and 2031, resulting in a weighted average life of 6 years. The 2031 Eurobonds have an issue price of 97.27, yielding 10.375%. Going fast ahead, the proceeds from the 2031 Eurobond will fund the offer to buy Kenya's existing 2 billion US dollars Eurobond that is due in 2024, pending demand in the tender offer. Fast forward, the remaining portion of the 2024 Eurobonds not purchased in the tender offer will be funded through a mix of the government funds and financing from multilateral and bilateral sources, including bank syndication. The government received dollar inflow from the IMF on 18th January worth 684 million US dollars and from the Trade Development Bank on the 24th of January worth 385 million US dollars. Also, the African Development Bank is set to further increase the dollar liquidity by an additional disbursement of 88 million US dollars. So, in summary, the Kenyan government floated a new Eurobond worth 1.5 billion US dollars. This Eurobond is set to mature in the next 6 years, giving it a very short lifespan of only 6 years. Money received from this Eurobond is supposed to be used to pay back a large chunk of the $2 billion Eurobond that is due in June 2024. The Kenyan shilling instead reaped from a tide of investor confidence after the floating of the 2 billion, of the 1.5 billion US dollars into the market. And the government received huge chunks of money in form of dollars into the economy. Experts, however, say that the shilling rally against the dollar may not last for a very long time, as long as the macroeconomic fundamentals remain the same. What does this mean? This means that Kenya is naturally, we've been a net importer. What do I mean by a net importer? A net importer is a country that basically imports more than it exports, and this causes what we call an imbalance in trade. So even though the dollars are getting into the country, even though the Kenyan government is receiving lots of dollars into the country right now, this may have a short-term effect of giving the impression of the shilling strengthening, but the effect might only last only for a short period of time. This, and especially if the Kenyan government does not encourage or do more exports. Now, what causes the imbalance of trade is when the imports becomes more than the exports, meaning that even though the dollars being received right now, they are in, there are so many, they will soon get depleted, and we will go back to where we were a few months ago. This is because the money which we have right now, the dollar which we have right now, most of them is going to be used to do more imports, because apparently we import more than we export. So after a short while, we're going to see the Kenyan shilling depreciating against the dollar. Yeah, because once the equation gets back into play, and if the Kenyan government does not invest more in producing the agricultural product, we always say that the agriculture is the backbone of the Kenyan economy. So the Kenyan government should focus more on exports so that we keep those dollars coming in our international trades. What are some of the effects of this bond to the Kenyan people and investors? Now, for business people and importers in general, now it is much easier to get the dollars in the economy, and now they can buy their goods at very good prices in the international market. And this, in extension, will mean that the cost of living in terms of the pricing of the imported goods, they're going to be relatively cheaper as compared to how they were. This is because the importers right now, they're getting the dollars at a very relatively cheap fee. Now, number two, there is no longer an incentive to keep hoarding dollars, and we see what we call panic selling of the dollars into the market. This is basically people who are holding the dollars initially, bringing them back into the market because of fear. Kenyans holding the dollars are, however, encouraged to release them into the market and to stop speculating. Kenyans are supposed to expect an increase in the government spending in the coming few months, and this will be coupled by a reduced appetite for local borrowings. That means that those investing in new treasury bills that will be issued, the government is going to give lower interest rates as compared to how they were initially. There will be increased market liquidity and reduced lending rates. This is because there will be so much money circulating in the economy, and the government fiscal policies will naturally come into play. And we will see there will be reduced lending rates by the commercial banks. Also, the Central Bank of Kenya may start to reduce the interest rate as from June 2024, once the Eurobond has been paid, the remaining part has been paid. We may find that the government interest rate, the government through the Central Bank of Kenya will start reducing the interest rates that they have been given. It is, however, my humble opinion that the Kenyan shilling may not continue to strengthen as we see it rising right now. This is especially if we do not work on our trade in the international market. We need to export more than what we are importing currently. And if this is done, then I see the Kenyan shilling might naturally just keep on strengthening against the dollar. So we should focus more on agricultural products because that is our strength apparently in the export market. And so until these effects are in place, the Kenyan shilling rise against the dollar, the Kenyan shilling appreciating against the dollar right now might only be a temporary resolve to the Kenyan market. We need to work on our exports to keep the dollars into the country. That will generally strengthen the Kenyan shilling. Thank you for watching this video. Please do not forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Also, if you have any comments, any questions, please ask them in the comment section. I will also be putting my email address and my phone number at the description. If you feel if you need to get in touch, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much. Let us meet in our next video.